So there was this huge Washington Post investigation that dropped the other day that I have to share with you because this, guys, is a big deal. Because normally it's only this YouTube channel and some others that are openly discussing the countless war crimes committed by the Trump regime. But now it has finally broken through to the mainstream and they're having real conversations about this, which is a big deal. Because that means we might at some point get actual justice and accountability. So let me walk you through it. Look at this. The Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, quote, "Kill them all." That's a direct quote from the Secretary of War Crimes, Pete Hegseth. A new Washington Post investigation reports that Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth personally gave the order to kill them all during the first U.S. boat strike in the Caribbean on September 2nd. According to multiple officials with direct knowledge, U.S. surveillance confirmed a suspected drug-running vessel, and Hegseth's spoken directive was to leave no survivors. After the first missile strike, 2 men were seen alive in the water. The Special Operations Commander overseeing the mission ordered a second strike to finish them, reportedly to comply with Hegseth's order. SEAL Team 6 carried out the operation. Law of war experts and some U.S. officials say the campaign is illegal as the suspected traffickers pose no imminent threat, and the U.S. is not in a lawful armed conflict with them. One former military lawyer called the killings murder, adding that in order to kill incapacitated survivors would constitute a war crime. The Pentagon denies the report, calling the narrative completely false, but internal briefings to Congress have frustrated lawmakers who say the explanations don't add up and key footage has not been provided. Since that first attack, at least 22 more boats have been hit and more than 80 people killed, with little public evidence that all were combatants. A direct order to kill everyone on board, survivors included, and a growing debate inside the U.S. government about legality. So this is a huge deal. It's interesting to me what things break through in the mainstream media and what things don't, because the fact of the matter is that very first strike is also a clear and obvious war crime. It's definitely illegal, but in the minds of the media, they're somehow like granting a mulligan for the first strike. But then when Hegseth says kill them all and do a second strike to the people who are incapacitated, then all of a sudden they're like, well, that's not right. You can't do that. Guys, I hate to tell you, the first strike is just as illegal as that second strike. But the fact of the matter is this is what's called a double tap, and it is explicitly illegal under international law, but also probably under U.S. law as well. So Hegseth comes out and he says the following. Notice what he says here, because this is super important. Pay close attention, because he's basically going to validate the report. He's going to agree that this is true, but then go on to contradict himself and then disagree. Ready? He says, as usual, the fake news is delivering more fabricated, inflammatory, and derogatory reporting to discredit our incredible warriors fighting to protect the homeland. As we've said from the beginning and in every statement, these highly effective strikes are specifically intended to be lethal kinetic strikes. So in other words, yeah, we killed them. I killed them. I'm happy I killed them. I'm bragging about killing them. The declared intent is to stop lethal drugs, destroy narco boats, and kill the narco terrorists who are poisoning the American people. Every trafficker we kill is affiliated with a designated terrorist organization. All right, let me just pause to point out, literally zero fentanyl comes from Venezuela. Zero. Less than 10% of the drugs that come into this country come from Venezuela. This is just a flat-out lie. Everybody knows it's a lie. He continues, the Biden administration preferred the kid gloves approach, allowing millions of people, including dangerous cartels and unvetted Afghans, to flood our communities with drugs and violence. The Trump administration has sealed the border and gone on offense against narco terrorists. Biden coddled terrorists. We kill them. Yet another verification. Our current operations in the Caribbean are lawful under both U.S. and international law, with all actions in compliance with the law of armed conflict and approved by the best military and civilian lawyers up and down the chain of command. More on that in a minute. Our warriors in Southcom put their lives on the line every day to protect the homeland from narco-terrorists, and I will always have their back. So notice what he's trying to do here. He's trying to make it more about, are you smearing the troops? Are you saying the troops did a bad thing? How dare you talk about our troops that way? It's the old school. I mean, this was the trick during the Iraq War when I was growing up. Like, if you criticize the war, they'd say, you need to support our troops. And you go, look, I got nothing against the troops. I'm just saying the decision to do the war in the first place is bad and wrong. How dare you not support our troops? This is stupid. But multiple times in this statement, he said, quote, as we've said from the beginning and in every statement, these highly effective strikes are specifically intended to be lethal kinetic strikes. So in other words, yes, I killed them. He's not even denying that not only he killed them, but that he ordered the double tap to go after the people who were in the water who survived. That is insane. That is insane. More. Ready? Former U.S. military lawyers speak out. The former JAGS working group unanimously considers both the giving and the execution of these orders, if true, to constitute war crimes, murder, or both. Let me repeat that. The former JAGS working group unanimously considers both the giving and the execution of these orders, if true, to constitute war crimes or murder or both, which is why a lot of the people who are being ordered to do these things, they are now seeking outside legal counsel. They are now seeking outside legal counsel, and they're going, well, hold on now, this can't be right. I'm being told to do this. Is this correct? Because they're going, there ain't no way, dog. Ain't no way that I'm allowed to do this. This is crazy. All right, ready? So Hegseth, ever the fucking idiot who keeps telling on himself, he tweets this. For your Christmas wish list, a classic Franklin story. Franklin targets narco-terrorists. And it shows Franklin, the cute little turtle guy who's in like kids' books, fucking launching an RPG at people on boats who, in this picture, represent drug traffickers. Like, he's joking about it and having fun with it. He's being glib. He's like, pretending like it's no big deal. Like, you're just a sensitive fucking liberal snowflake if you're against wanton murder based on absolutely nothing with zero evidence presented. So I like this response I wanted to share with you. Franklin, on trial at the War Crimes Tribunal. Because, yes, this is what comes next. That's what I want to warn Pete Hegseth about, is that this is what comes next, man. And clearly, he hasn't thought about that or doesn't give a fuck about that. And as a direct result, he's in this position now. So let me show you here what Max Blumenthal says. It's now clear why the top JAG officer in U.S. Southcom leaked his opposition to Trump's extrajudicial murder campaign in the Caribbean. The Southcom commander announced his early retirement, and Hegseth booted the press from the Pentagon just days after ordering this war crime. So that's a very good point by Max, and I hadn't thought about it because I believe the nominal reason why they booted the press was like, oh, you're not signing on to this ridiculous pledge that they're making them sign, which basically gives away their constitutional rights. And so you had all the press go, well, we're not going to fucking sign that. And then Hegseth goes, okay, well then get the fuck out, right? Well, the actual reason why that was happening at that time, according to Max here, he's connecting the dots, and he's saying the real reason is this was around the time that he ordered these illegal and offensive strikes against innocent people, fishermen, and he knew he was going to get fucking grilled and turned into mincemeat by the press. And so he's like, well, let's just find a way to fucking kick them out, right? And so this is crazy, man. This is crazy. You need to understand the fact that Hegseth himself has now made mainstream media go, I don't know, man, this looks like a war crime. That is insane because my entire life, the U.S. government has been committing war crimes. My entire life they've been doing it. They've been using depleted uranium tips in Fallujah, which is a clear and obvious war crime. The whole war in Iraq was a clear and obvious war crime. The fucking war profiteering and looting and pillaging, all fucking war crimes. All of the CIA coups, total fucking war crimes. The torture at Abu Ghraib and Gitmo, total clear war crimes and against U.S. law, not just international law. My whole life they've been doing it, but like there's always enough plausible deniability to dupe the fucking idiots in mainstream media into going, and maybe there's another side to this that I'm not understanding, right? But this instance is so extreme that even they're going, I don't know, man, that's very clearly illegal. Because he murdered or did like a terror attack and a murder hit on these people in these boats. No evidence whatsoever they're trafficking drugs at all. And then did a double tap and killed them when they were incapacitated in the water. And by the way, we know they're not actually sending drugs because you need to refuel these tiny boats 20 times to even reach the U.S. They weren't even going to the U.S. We learned that a lot of them are fucking fishermen. There was a bunch of fishermen from Trinidad and Tobago that got murdered. There were fishermen from Colombia that got murdered. There were fishermen from Venezuela that got murdered. And by the way, I forgot to mention, even if these people were sending drugs, which we know they weren't, but even if they were, it would still be illegal to light them up. Like, there's a process here where you would board the ship, seize the drugs, arrest the people, give them a trial. Like, that's how this would work. But no, they're murdering them, and they're so fucking, I don't know, they're so arrogant about it. They're so over-the-top arrogant and, like, cocky that they feel like they're truly invincible. But I don't know, man. For the first time in my life, it feels like, oh, no, you idiots don't get it. Like, there might actually be consequences for you now. You really don't get it, but that might actually happen now. I think back to the war on terror and to Bush and Cheney. And as I told you guys, there was a 2-year buildup of relentless propaganda to make people think that Saddam Hussein was going to attack the United States of America. And you had people fearing like Saddam Hussein has nukes and he's going to fucking nuke us. It was all a lie, but they did the work from the ground, the propaganda work. With Trump and Hegseth here, they're just a bunch of idiot cowboys who are just going in guns blazing, murdering innocent people, and then like yelling at you if you say, hey, that's not right. It's backfiring, man. It's backfiring right in front of our eyes. And it fucking, thank God it is. But for the first time in a long time, I'm thinking they might actually go down on war crimes charges, which is 100% necessary if we want to have a functioning country in the future, and we want to have rule of law and checks and balances, and we want to, not have an emperor or a king. This needs to happen, and we're getting closer and closer to it. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.